solidarity with all of our fellow Canadians who are facing evacuations as a result of wildfires that are striking so many communities across this country. I want to thank the first responders, the military members, and all others who are chipping in to help out, to protect property and people, and to fight these fires. And Conservatives call on the federal government to offer any support that either local communities or provinces are seeking in order to combat this continued menace. People across the country are suffering with this, but here in the prairies, of course, in the last 48 hours, people have had a new problem, and that is that the Chinese government has announced yet another unfair round of tariffs, this time charging canola seed. They've already gone after oil and meal, and this is, of course, another unfair attack on our Western producers, who, many of whom were having a fantastic growing season and looking forward to a bumper crop. That crop is now facing tariffs from one of our biggest customers. These tariffs are unfair and unjustified, and we lament the fact that Mark Carney has been so silent and so weak.
Yep, no balls,
failing
Carney.
to stand up for our farmers
Retard
against
Carney.
these tariffs.
Fuck Mark Carney.
Meanwhile, Carney continues
around.
to provide a
Probably sucking his
billion-dollar
fucking thumb right now,
taxpayer-backed
crying in the corner,
loan
the little
for
bitch.
BC ferries to buy Chinese-made
I don't know what to
vessels.
do. I'm so weak.
Can you imagine that?
I'm
The sign
bitch.
of weakness that Carney is sending to the dictatorship in Beijing. You tax and tariff our farmers, and we'll give you $1 billion loan to create jobs in your country. That kind of weakness has led to failure after failure. Remember, Mark Carney promised that he was an international man of mystery who was going to negotiate deals and end tariffs. Well, what's the result been so far? Let's start south of the border. Since Prime Minister Carney took office, the Americans have doubled tariffs on Canada, while they signed deals with Europe, Japan, and other countries. They have increased penalties and increased the number of tariffs. Meanwhile, Mark Carney has made concession after concession, removing the digital services tax and counter tariffs while getting absolutely nothing in return. He sent his ministers to Mexico to try and get a bilateral deal with them. The Mexicans sent the Liberals packing. Yeah, he's done photo ops in Europe, but he hasn't got any deals, while the Americans have signed a deal to sell $750 billion of their energy products to the Europeans. Not a single dollar of European commitment to buy Canadian energy.
And I'm hoping he
It
still
seems
comes
like
back and wins.
Since Prime Minister Carney
Prime
took
Minister
office,
right here.
it has been American tariffs up and liberal elbows down. We're seeing a back down and a failure. But we take no delight in this because as Carney fails abroad, Canadians pay the price at home. Here in Canada, things are not changing as he promised they would. In fact, they are actually getting worse. In replacing Justin Trudeau, he claimed that things would be different. Well, they're different only in that they continue to worsen. There have been many grand announcements, high-profile meetings, and grand statements, but none of the results promised. Government spending is growing faster than ever, faster than when Justin Trudeau was Prime Minister. Inflation and the cost of living continue to rise. Housing costs, which had already doubled, are now rising faster than before, and we see that the home building numbers are worse today, even after Carney promised that he would double them. Crime rages in our streets as catch and release laws still release the most dangerous monsters to terrorize our communities. Carney has kept Justin Trudeau's out-of-control immigration numbers. Worse, the Liberal government has lost track of 600 foreign criminals with records of committing crime in Canada who should have been deported but are now wandering our streets, God knows where, doing God knows what.
Some the fuck home.
Low-wage temporary foreign workers take jobs and drive wages down for our youth.
Come here, burn
no major projects, such as pipelines, have been proposed, approved, or begun construction. His energy cap, Carney's energy cap, industrial carbon tax, and continued support for banning pipelines, for the laws that ban pipeline, are keeping our resources in the ground and making us more dependent than ever on the Americans. So much for he said it was going to be build, baby, build. So far, it's been block, baby, block.
Yeah.
He's not actually getting anything built. He's all talk and no action. Things are not different. They are getting worse. And there's more trouble ahead.
Don't forget to hit
Mark
that
Carney's
like and
promised to
subscribe
ban
button,
your
everybody.
gas, truck, and car,
Fuck that.
which
Portion
a
of ugly
ban
for
that
me.
begins phasing in just months from today. It will kill jobs, balloon costs, and grind rural communities to a halt. Farmers, ranchers, resource workers would not be able to do their jobs because EVs don't work over long distances and in cold weather. It would literally erase many small towns from the map. Now, a lot of people will say that is hyperbole, but I asked the farmers here today, could the rural communities across the prairies actually continue to go on if they had to drive exclusively electric vehicles? Could that run on an electric battery? How could you move your grain to markets? How could you do the regular work that's required to have a pickup truck in minus 40-degree weather in February? It is simply not possible. What Mark Carney was doing by banning gas vehicles is he is banning the rural way of life. Communities across Western Canada, rural Ontario, y compris au Quebec, and in the rural Atlantic would be gone. And forget about the northern territories of our country, where this pipe dream would be impossible. There's not even the electrical infrastructure. It would cost $300 billion to put in place the electrical charging stations and transmission networks to actually do that, which would be thousands of dollars of costs in higher taxes and prices for consumers for every single family. And not only would it eliminate rural communities, it would eliminate our auto sector. Don't take my word for it. I want to quote from a letter by automotive manufacturers who said, and I quote, this is a letter to Mr. Carney, to which he has not even responded. There is no longer a pathway to achieving the government's mandated sales level of 20% in 2026. If the mandate is not urgently repealed, it will inflict serious damage on automakers, the dealership network, and the hundreds of thousands of Canadians
This is
employed
CPAC.
in the
CPAC's
sector.
fucking it all
The
up.
result of this regulation is lower
Can't even
vehicle
fucking
sales,
hear it.
higher prices for Canadians, and less jobs for the sector.
CPAC's trying to
The
shut
heads
them
of
up.
major manufacturers are not the only ones sounding the alarm. Nearly 50 Ontario mayors have written Mr. Carney telling him to scrap
Should
those
get better. I think it's because it's
warning
raining
that
down
quote,
there.
self-inflicted harm, end quote,
Raining, I
will
guess.
damage
Windy,
jobs
probably.
and investment in their communities. Yet, starting
There we go.
in just a few months,
Can't
on
control.
January 1st, the Carney mandate, the Carney ban on your gas vehicle will begin to be phased in. It will require 20% of dealership sales to be electric, and any car sold above that quota will pay a $20,000 tax. I call it the Carney tax. The Liberals' mandate would continue to worsen as years go by until 2035, when gas vehicles would be banned altogether. The auto industry is already under enormous stress after Mark Carney broke his promise to get a July 21st, 2025 deal to end the tariffs imposed by the United States. The last thing they need is a job-killing,
Don't forget to
price-hiking
like and subscribe,
gas
everybody.
vehicle ban.
Support
The
the channel.
CAA found that all electric vehicles can lose 40% of their power during cold winters. EVs that are comparable in utility and function to their gas-powered vehicles on average cost about $20,000 more. Consumers should be free to choose the car or truck that they drive. They should be able to decide for themselves what they buy and how they get around. And yet, we know that Mark Carney's plan will punish them for making those choices, and according to the Canadian
Carney's
Journal
a
of
fucking
Economics,
loser.
kill 38,000 jobs across this country.
Carney is the biggest
That is
loser
why-
around. Loser than fucking more
That
than
is why
Trudeau.
I am announcing today that Conservatives are launching a massive nationwide campaign to stop Mark Carney's ban on gas-powered vehicles. This campaign will include motions in Parliament, pressure campaigns in local Liberal MP ridings, press conferences and events at car dealerships across Canada, petitions, and other activities that will mobilize Canadians to maintain their right to decide what car they can afford and what car works for them.
Don't forget to like and
It's
subscribe.
time to put... It's time to put Canadians back in the driver's seat. It's time to put Canadians back in the driver's seat so that they can decide what life